Oh, there we go. Super. Well, good morning,
Oh,
everybody. We're never quite sure we go live or not, but we are definitely live, live, live. So, welcome to Leaders Live, and I'm Andrew Jenkins. Live, 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 Leaders Live. Oh, yeah. And this is a short countdown timer to help the various feeds catch up with each other and settle down. And we can't wait for today's groovy show, folks. And I hope you like these little swirly things going around on the countdown screen there. They're new. And in this week's Leaders Live, we are hanging out with Rebecca Jenkins, no relation, by the way, we don't think anyway, founder of RJEN, helping businesses to grow beyond expectations based on previous experience of growing companies to 8 figures. Ooh. And our theme today is the risk of not being authentic in business. Give us a quick wave and a quick hello, Rebecca.
hello.
There we go.
Hello.
Fantastic. And helping us to engage this morning, we've got the lovely, fantastic Birdine Hugo back in the room again for a one time only. So yeah, she's
Yes.
Hi, how you doing, Birdine?
I'm doing well, thanks, Andrew.
Brilliant.
Glad to step in.
Yeah, stepping in the last moment. Yeah, we had some power issues in South Africa this morning. So, yeah, music by my Uncle Peter. Can you believe this? This is the 76th show, folks. Fantastic. We've all been part of this growing community that feels really exciting. So please let me know if our feeds is coming through. And here is our Your DMS. Well, yeah, and that's a quick shout out for Your DMS. I hope you enjoyed that short little jingle from Your DMS after the countdown. Yeah, and we're delighted that we're being powered by Your DMS, our fantastic Leaders Live sponsor. Wow, we are so chuffed about that, and more about Your DMS as we go through the show, folks. So, good morning, Paul. Good morning, Andrew Magawan. Good morning, guys, he says. Good morning, everyone. I've got a LinkedIn user here. Good morning, Kev. Nice to see you. To see you nice, as they say. So, oi, oi, people, and hi, gang. It's Leaders Live, and we are live. It's 8:45 a.m. here in the UK. So we are live with Leaders Live, spreading the love, folks. Spreading the love. Yabba dabba do. And I'll just say a few quick hellos again in a moment. So, and if you're new to Leaders Live and you don't know me, as mentioned in the countdown timer, folks, and the Leaders Live is an interactive and dynamic weekly talk show that generates business through networking, community, and extraordinary conversations. And our motto here is I to the power of we. Whoa. And we're streaming out on multiple channels today, simultaneously, actually, and including your DMS company page and on my all-new leaderslive.tv website as well. So don't you just love tech? I don't know how it all works, but it all kind of hangs together somehow. And you can catch us on live or on the replay feed. So if you can't catch us live, or on the replay, my friends, fear not. We've got you covered because we're on podcast too. Yay! Ah, fantastic. And if you like what you see, or you want to say thank you for all the effort that we put into this free show, folks, you can buy me a coffee too, folks. Boy, we do put a lot of effort into making this show work for you guys. And so you get a shout out on the folks too. The link is buymeacoffee.com/leaderslive, or even more better, folks, you can use the QR codey thing down on the bottom there, and it just makes it work like magic for you. And yeah, we've added that onto every page as well. That's an awesome little app. It's just a bit of fun. And some hot news as well before we begin. I'm delighted to announce and inform you that apparently last night I won the Best Professional Award at the UK's Mental Health and Wellbeing Awards. Ooh, I was really impressed with that. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was like, oh, wow, okay. So yeah, so I was nominated by Healthy Minds Club, run by my mate and CEO, Kathy Heath, and I'm on her executive board. So I think that deserves that. Wow, one of those.
Definitely. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. So, interactive show, folks. As I've said, interact with the show. Please get involved, join in, ask questions, network with the live community, and even a little friendly banter for you regulars. Lead the way, show how we roll, and smash those likes too, folks, for us, please. We'd really appreciate that. So that keeps us motivated too. And hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, which we're growing. So, phew, put it all together. What do we got? Bibbidi, bibbidi, bobbidi boo. And you'll be singing that song all day, I'm sure. So let's bring in our wonderful hangout guest today, Rebecca Jenkins. Yay! Founder of RJEN, helping businesses to grow beyond expectations based on previous experience of growing companies to 8 figures. Ooh, yeah. How you doing, Rebecca?
Hi, Andrew. Do you know what I have to say? The effort that you put into this show is incredible. I've got to know you as we've been planning for this, and I have to take my hat off to you. You take it all to the next level indeed.
Thank
So
you.
brilliant. Yeah, really
Thank
well
you.
done.
Yeah, I'm just putting my phone onto silent so it doesn't ring, because you know what happens when you go live, right? The phone rings, doesn't it? So there we go. Right. Yeah, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. So where are you taking us today? Talk us through, give us a big picture where we're heading today.
Yeah, we are
Rebecca.
going to be talking about
Dun, 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 dun.
authenticity in business and in leadership, and how much do we need it? Do we need to be authentic? Should we be totally authentic in business? That's the topic that we're going to be discussing, and we'd love to get everybody's views on that. So if you've got a view on authenticity in business and in leadership, we want to hear it, don't we, Andrew? We want to hear what the views are on that.
Yeah.
And have you taken the risk of being totally authentic? Because if you're not being totally authentic, there's a risk attached to that as well.
Yeah, you can't win either way, can you? So there you go. So just quickly, just march through. Good morning, Maria Jeffers. Good morning, Joe Cooper. And good morning, Jack Wright. Fantastic to see you. Hey, someone's bought us a coffee. Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you very much, whoever you are. I didn't see the name there, so you didn't put your name on there. But thank you very much. Kev Oyston, nice to be seen. Gary Fisher, oi, oi. Yes, it's Gary, oi, oi, back, Gary. I don't know who this LinkedIn user, it might be. I don't know, actually. Birdin, do you know who that LinkedIn user is saying just good morning?
I don't have it clear because my comments isn't pulling through on LinkedIn.
They're not pulling through yet, no. Okay. No problem.
On LinkedIn, it's not pulling through, but I can see it on Ecamm.
I can see it on Ecamm.
That person can just give us their name, please. That would be fantastic.
That'd be brilliant. Thank you. Yeah. And we said, good morning, VJ. VJ is Rebecca's business partner, I think, if that's the right word. Great seeing you. Yeah, fantastic. Good morning. Yeah, and he's one of my mates as well. So morning, VJ, and morning, Mateus from Budapest this morning in Hungary. Yeah. And Kev Oyston says, congrats. Amazing news, Andrew. And good morning, Annette Benigni. Is that how you pronounce that? One of your mates, Rebecca?
Don't know, Annette. No.
Hello,
Annette.
Well, we're glad to meet you, Annette.
Oh, yeah, very nice to meet you, Annette.
And Jonas says, congratulations. Where are we? Yes.
Oh, there we go.
There we are. Just lost that one. There it is. And yeah, congratulations, Andrew. Where else have we got? Great, Kev Oyston. I'm always impressed by the ever-growing collection of droids and action figures in the background. Fantastic. And yeah, Matteo says, authenticity in business and life in general is essential. Yes, absolutely. And the LinkedIn user is Mr. Silver Fox, my mate Guy Danes from South Africa. Fantastic morning to see you. That was me with the cuppa under my personal email. And Steve Whittle, hello team, sorry I'm late, looking forward to this. Fantastic. So there we've caught up with the intro comments, so please keep the comments flowing this morning, and we're going to kick off with well, what a great topic we've got on authenticity, and that deserves a so kick us off, Rebecca. You've got a question for the audience to get us going. What's your question for this morning?
I've got a question for the audience. What's your view on being authentic in business, and does it have a place in business really? What's your view? We want to hear what's your view about authenticity.
Yeah.
Does it have a place in business.
Brilliant. So what's your view on being authentic in business, folks, and has it a place in leadership and business today? Well, we'll find out. Now, there's a little bit of a delay in the feed, so we'll come back to you in a moment. Rebecca will give you just a quick break to come back to in a tick. So during the countdown, I briefly introduced our moderator again in the room, Berdine Hugo. And Berdine has stepped in the last moment because we've had power issues. So Darlington, who's our current moderator, can't make it this morning. So the wonderful Berdine has stepped in. Great to see you again, Berdine. We always love a Berdine in the room. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah, we doing the backstage rowdies just to get everyone up to speed. Jonas decided that I need to start writing a blog about how to kill snakes and eat celery. So watch this space. We might get there soon.
Watch this space. Yeah, Berdine had to kill 2 more snakes: a python and another cobra, a yellow cobra, a cape cobra.
Yeah,
so
but
dangerous.
all in all, I'm all for authenticity, Rebecca. So I am looking forward to what everyone else's view is on this in the chat, and not only, going through it, but what they actually think about it, because authenticity is one of the things, especially, in digital marketing, considering that I've been busy with digital marketing for the past 3 years. It's one of the things that stood out that works best is just to be your authentic self.
Yeah.
You can't be someone else. You need to be yourself. So I'm looking forward to everyone's comments.
Yeah, and I wonder whether you've got to eat celery to be authentic as well. There's a thought for you. So,
I think so, yes.
Berdine was chewing on celery this morning. So, yeah, thanks, Berdine. Also, by popular demand, we have our 5-minute interlude slot back again on This Week Again, folks, called Your DMS Get to Know You in 5. And we briefly feature a regular on the show so we can all get to know each other. And this week we have Chris Windley, my mate Chris Windley, who was on the show last week when we were talking about cybersecurity. And he's the chairman and CEO of Cybersecurity Association, Global Sales and Marketing Director of Lujam Cyber. Ooh, so we've got him to come. And Chris will be joining us at the halfway intermission slot, just so you know, when we shout out our fabulous sponsor. So back to Rebecca again. I'm just trying to find the guest scene. There we go. And just before you begin, let's give Rebecca a round of applause. Hey! Feel the love, Rebecca. Feel the love. I hope you like the groovy build up. So, Rebecca, you asked the question of the audience. So let's kick off with that. Berdine, what's going on with the comments? Let's just pick up on those quickly before we start launching into other bits about authenticity.
Alrighty. So just before I asked, or Rebecca asked the question, a guy said, "I've lots of color and positive energy on what is a very dark morning on the Isle of Wight." Thank you.
Oh, you're on the Isle of Wight this morning. You travelled. Well, there we go. Fantastic. Nice to hear. Nice that you're there. Great.
Yes. Kev Oyston said, "Authenticity is not trying to be perfect and trying to be yourself and being brave with your own story."
Oh, we like that. That deserves a... Ooh, yeah. Spot on. We're going to talk about that just in a moment. We'll pick that up in a moment, won't we, Rebecca?
We will. Indeed, yeah. Being brave with your own story. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, have courage with your own story. Fantastic. And what else, Berdine?
We've got Annette saying, "Authenticity is very important in business and in your personal life."
Oh, yeah. And interesting, the two go hand in hand. We might learn it, in business maybe, but it actually affects our personal life. Or if we're doing it in our personal life, it affects our business life. So it grows you as a human being, right? So, yeah, like that. Thanks, Annette. Brilliant. What say you,
We've
Rebecca?
got Joe.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What say you about authenticity is very important in business and in your personal life, Rebecca?
Sorry, Andrew, what did you say?
No, there we go. We're just looking at Annette's comment. Sorry.
Yeah. It's so important. I mean, it's hard to be two different people, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
A different person at work and a different person in your personal life.
Well
got
said.
the energy in that.
Yeah, and we don't have to wear the mask, right? So that's an interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting.
Let it come through.
Let it come through. Yeah. What else, Berdine?
I've got Joe saying, "If people don't know and understand the authentic you, it'd be hard to build trust."
Really good point. Yeah. And actually, part of developing a high performing team is to build trust. And part of building trust is to actually then be authentic. So everything goes hand in hand, high performance and authenticity.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. And what else we got?
Already. I've got guys saying many do not like me being authentic as I tell it how I see it. And it's absolutely, he carries on by saying it's absolutely a game changer for me personally. Certainly being authentic in your content marketing. So you are the person your prospect gets to actually meet. It works. They rock up as if they know you.
Yeah, spot on. I mean, that whole thing about social selling and authenticity is really important in today's rapidly changing world. Yeah, fascinating. Yeah. And we've got something from Maria.
Yes, Maria says, I'm so much happier in work for being my full self.
Yeah. Yeah, it can only be one person, as Rebecca's just said. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Then we've got Matthias saying, my view about being authentic is that by being yourself, sharing stories from your life, and not take yourself too seriously, you create trust among those around you.
Lovely. Yeah, love that. Yeah. Matthias, wise words. Fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
There's just a few more here. Steve Whittle saying, ultimately, authenticity leads to stronger connections and lasting relationships.
Yeah, spot on, Steve. Morning,
And then
Steve.
Gary Fisher just adds to that, authenticity is so important in the construction industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I've come from the construction industry. Yep, Gary, absolutely. Yep, spot on.
Yeah.
And then we've got Jonas. I'm going to compile Jonas's 2 comments. He said, the lack of authenticity in both business and politics is, in my opinion, the main reason for the mistrust that are so widespread. I've always tried to be as authentic as possible in the work I'm doing. I'm using my own story a lot as a foundation for my work, so I need to be authentic. It was scary in the beginning, but it has paid off.
Lovely. Yeah, thank you, Jonas. Just to let you know, Chris Windley's in the green room, by the way, so got you, Steve. Thank you. Just give me a thumbs up so I know you can hear me.
I think that point there about it can feel scary to kind of display yourself is a really significant one when you first contact with this.
Yes.
Thanks.
I think it comes with a bit of vulnerability because you're setting yourself up for being vulnerable to the world instead of just, putting up this front and being this person that everyone thinks you are, but you're not.
Perfect.
So that's why it's easier not being authentic. We've got Matthias saying being authentic is also about leadership. So when it comes to make people follow you as a leader, to empower others, and to create psychological safety at the workplace, which in turn increases well-being and healthy productivity.
Yeah, spot on. Spot on. And then VJ's just plopped in one here. So,
Yeah, he said, being an authentic leader also means being true to your values. People want to know that their leader is someone they can trust. When you're honest and transparent about your intentions, people are more likely to rally behind you.
Yeah, we're just about to share a story on that. Well said, VJ. And Maria has just given us a fantastic segue into our next question. I used to think that I had to hide who I really was just to fit in. Lovely. Thank you, Maria. Brilliant. So, Rebecca, you talk about the risk of being authentic. I love the way you've phrased that. So let's start with, what is being authentic really all about, Rebecca? Take it away.
I agree with what everybody's been saying here because authentic is being your genuine self, isn't it? Being aligned to your values and, that when your head and your heart and your feelings and your behaviors are just all in tune. You're not trying to be something else or trying to be somebody else. And I've been in that place. It's all part of learning lessons, but just being who you are.
Just being who you are. Yeah.
Being who you are. But, when you are who you are, you might have areas that need to be improved. So it's not about just saying, I am who I am, and not doing, looking for continual improvement. It's about, I am who I am, and I know that I've got to improve in this area, and I know I could be better over here. So when I'm true to myself, I reflected on that, and I know what I need to improve on as well. So I take steps to improve.
I think that's important, is the balance between those. It's just saying, well, I am who I am, so I come with all my flaws.
Yeah.
And that, in some ways that's okay. But, I'm wondering, with authenticity, the risk of it is that we have to develop ourselves beyond just our defaults, right? So I am who I am with all my conditioning and all my prejudices and all my biases, which might not be very effective, and they could create quite a lot of toxicity. So do we have to work on ourselves then, Rebecca, as well, and develop ourselves?
Oh, it starts with us,
Yeah.
and 100%, doesn't it? We've got to hold the mirror up to ourselves.
Lovely.
And just kind of look at the areas where we recognize that we could be better or improve on, and take steps to improve. So I think it's a continual, lifelong work in progress, but still being true to your values and who you are, but working on the things that you're good at, and your moral compass, as well as continuing to embrace and improve the things that you could be better at. For example, you might not be a very good listener, but so you can work on being a better listener, because that's part of your values, to be a good listener. So being true to you and being aligned with who you are, and not putting a mask on for different situations or different roles that you might have.
Yeah, spot on. I love the way you've kind of articulated that. And I have a theory, Rebecca, and I'm just testing this with our audience as well, that look, actually being authentic is actually part of who we are. It's actually built in us. We have the seeds of authenticity already there, but they lay dormant because we've got to learn to be a human being first. So we learn to become that functional human being before we can get to become the authentic being. Let me explain a little bit of that. So as a child, we're probably born into this world completely authentic, right? And yet there's something that happens to us during life, isn't there, that creates something different. It's almost like we're created as princes and princesses in this world, and yet growing through the world means that we end up becoming frogs. And so we spend the rest of our life trying to get back to being that prince or princess again, right? And I think that's part of the journey of being authentic. That whole journey to become the complete person, which is completion, is getting to our authentic power. But we have to get through some learning first, and my belief is that, we start in our adult life or even in our child life, just learning to cope with being, protection and being secure and being safe in the world. And we learn that through our parents. And then when we're teenagers, we learn the whole art of relationship in the school playground, etc. And then as we get to adults, we learn how to deal with our ego, don't we? That really big ego thing, and how to come to terms with that, Rebecca.
Oh, sometimes we've got to park our ego, haven't we?
That's
Leave
right.
it to one side.
Yeah.
And that can be very challenging, particularly in leadership, when you may have a view that a leader has to have all the answers, or the leader has to be the one that, sets the scene for everything. You've got to leave your ego behind. And I think some of that you're talking about there, Andrew, is about how we're conditioned, isn't it, in that growing up, how we absorb the biases of others, or we absorb the how we're meant to be. We've got a view of how we're meant to be from the of others, and we absorb those, and yeah,
you're right. We do absorb them, and part of that creates a functional human being where we survive in that world where 1 + 1 = 2. That's the kind of functional human beings. And yet, once we've developed that functional human being thing, we can then start to get back to our authenticity, which is where authentic power comes in, where we can transform into the person we're meant to be, the complete human being we're meant to be, where 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 anymore. 1 + 1 equals new. We're using our intuition, we're using our deep resources, we're accessing other people's resources, we're collaborating with others, etc. This is where authenticity, I believe, comes into its full power. What do you say, Rebecca?
Well, yeah, I completely agree, and I'd just like to share a story with you about how I left school feeling that I wasn't going to be much in life because I didn't get the best results. And I was told, well, you won't go very far. You haven't got the best results. You're going to have to be careful. And I thought, wow, this is kind of me struck now for life. I'm never going to get very far. So, that conditioning was put on me that I wasn't going to get very far in life. And then I read this amazing book by Tony Robbins called
Oh,
Awaken the Giant Within.
I've read that book. Yes.
And I thought, wow, this isn't about all this conditioning that's been put on me that you've got to be an absolute intellect to get anywhere in the world. It's all within you.
Yeah.
And it's the choices that you make, and it's living your life on purpose with good intentions, and being really striving to be the person that you want to be. And it's not about all the skills that you might have or the qualifications that you've got. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. This changed my life, this book. I didn't have to listen to all that conditioning that because I didn't get the best grades at school that I was doomed to be a failure.
Spot on. Yeah, I've a similar journey, Rebecca. Absolutely similar journey. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, we are more than we think we are, right? That's the key to authenticity. Beautiful. Yeah. So tell us a bit about your own personal journey. So you talked a little bit about your upbringing and your education and how that shaped you through transformational reading. How did you discover that in business, Rebecca?
Oh, goodness. And I have another little story that I'd like to share about that, because being an MD of a logistics business, and I was growing the business, and we had a reasonable sized team, and we had this amazing contract with my absolute favorite client at the time, which was the Body Shop. So the Body Shop retailer, we all know them.
Yeah.
They're a global retailing business. And we'd won this contract. It was a multi-million-pound contract. And it was just such an exciting time. Now, I'd like you all to imagine going to a client meeting and you're expecting this massive pat on the back because you've done everything perfectly. For this situation, we made all the deliveries on time. We'd got them through Christmas. We were going to this January meeting with the team. And I just expected we were going to be told, yeah, you've done a wonderful job and it's all brilliant. And they did tell us that. They said, we've done a wonderful job. You're all brilliant. But if you don't change, you are going to lose the contract. And this was a 5-year contract. So what do you mean we're going to lose the contract? We've done everything you've asked us to do. But they just said, you're boring. Hey, what do you mean you're boring? Yeah, they couldn't really elaborate on it. I had no idea what they meant, and I had no idea what to do. I was kind of panicking, thinking we can't afford to lose this contract, not just from a financial perspective, but because all eyes were on us, because we'd won this prestigious contract with the Body Shop that many of our much bigger competitors had gone after. So I went back to basics, went back with the team. And I felt it was a real struggle for me to own up and say, I actually don't know what we need to do here. Because I felt that I was the MD and I should have all the answers. And I can look back on that and laugh now. What a silly what a silly thought to have. But that's how I felt at the time. So I thought, can I admit that I don't know? What will my team think of me? They'll think, God, here she is, the MD, and she doesn't even know what to do with her most favourite and one of her best clients. And I thought they would lose faith in me, and I thought they'd lose confidence in me, and all of those thoughts were going around in my head. And I just thought, goodness me, I don't have the answers. I'm going to have to really open up with my team, explain that we've got this difficult situation, and bring them together and get them to help me find the answer to it. And that was quite a scary moment, because I just kept thinking I was the one that should know what to do. Well, you can all have a laugh with me on that one, because it was obviously learnt a lot since then, and we got the team together. We did a lot of brainstorming, and we came up with some fantastic solutions that did not come from me at all.
Brilliant. And that's where 1 + 1 = new, right? When you start to talk to other people and get them involved, and that degree of vulnerability as well, recognizing, I haven't got the answers here. I can't do this alone. That was a sudden realization for you, a breakthrough, perhaps, Rebecca.
Oh, it made such a difference.
Yeah.
It changed me completely after that, because I'd always considered myself to be like a fairly authentic leader. you're a good listener and you have values and you have a clear roadmap and a clear vision. But there was a degree of authenticity that I wasn't being authentic when it came to saying, I feel really worried about losing this contract. I feel really concerned and I don't know what to do. And that was a level of vulnerability that I'd not shown before.
And, we talked about values earlier, didn't we? So, actually, it just goes to show that authenticity is probably even beyond those values, isn't it? So you had all those values initially, but the thing that made the difference was, actually, I need to think about my own value set with the people that are working around me, and I haven't got the answers here. Maybe it's my fault that this contract was boring, and maybe my team can see it too, and maybe they can give me some feedback.
Well, I think I gave my team a disservice, really, because I didn't trust them to come up with the answers, or I didn't empower them to come up with the answers. So, you've always got to look at yourself first, I think. And I think that I did them a disservice. I didn't ask them to come up with the ideas. We did, ultimately. But at the time, I thought I had to protect them, which was the wrong thinking.
Yeah.
You had to empower them to really help. And, that was significant. And, one of the funny things about that process after we'd done this whole brainstorming session, and it was a number of brainstorming sessions to come up with what do we do about this, I was in the loo. And I was in one of the cubicles afterwards, and my team came in, and they were talking about the meeting, and they said, do you know what? I always thought Rebecca was some superwoman, but now I realise she's normal. She's just normal.
She's just like us. She goes to the loo.
It's normal.
Brilliant. So, what made the difference, Rebecca? What was if you could crystallise it, what was the difference that made the difference with being authentic in this instance? What if you just sort of put it into a few words? What would it be? What did actually make the difference to be authentic in this moment for you?
Well, the ultimate end goal was that we came up with a solution that we retained that contract for over 15 years.
Wow, there you go. Yeah.
Let's go back upstream a little bit, because the team rallied and there was so much support and so many fantastic ideas that came forward, not from me, but from the team. And I felt this real kind of degree of unity within the team to really help us get through this and keep the contract for a long time, which ultimately we did. So it was that sense of unity, and the end goal, the end outcome was we kept them for a very long time. We kept that contract for many, many years.
Yeah. And how did your team grow and develop finally?
Oh, you know what? I think it was a case of, well, we can all be open now. We can all share our feelings more now.
Perfect.
We can all say when we're not sure or we're not certain and we don't know what to do. She's just said it, so it's okay for me to say it. I think that's the thing, isn't it? The leader leads the way in terms of behaviours and actions and thoughts and language and all those things, and you can unlock.
Yeah, unlock. And isn't that interesting? That whole phrase of unlocking, that's exactly what happened there. And it wasn't a strategy from above. It was a strategy built through the team, right? Actually, we've got an issue here. We've got a scenario. We don't know how to deal with it. Right, let's all muck in together and let's find out a common solution. And 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2 now. It equals something else. And actually, you created magic through that by allowing the team to build, the solution to the problem, right?
Yeah, and I think, Andrew, it's kind of being open with your heart as well, isn't it?
Oh, I like that. Open with your
heart. That logical side, I'm the MD, hey, I need to have all the answers. It's leading with your heart and just saying, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling concerned about this.
Yeah.
Let's rally, let's help, let's work together to find a way forward.
Yeah, so there's a key.
That.
Yeah, there's a key about collaborating there, isn't there? And that's fascinating, isn't it? That whole link to high performance and authenticity is very strong there, by the sounds of it. And your team became high performing because of it, my guess, because you had an open trust between them, and they could tell their story and be part of the solution.
I think, yeah, absolutely, Andrew. And it's that empowerment, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Empowering your team to co-create.
Co-create, yeah.
To find a new way forward.
Fantastic. Love that.
And to challenge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. And have the courage to challenge as well, and have the
Yeah.
trust in the team to do that. Beautiful. So all of those things work together. Really love that, Rebecca. We're going to give a quick break. It's intermission time, folks, and we're going to come back to the comments as well. Some fantastic comments, so we won't ignore those. Some brilliant stuff going on in the feed, which we'll come back to. So we're going to this is our Your DMS Get to Know You in 5 slots. So I'm just going to play the sponsor video just for a moment. Little jingle. 1 second. Here we go. Fantastic. Right. Okay. So a bit about our sponsors then, folks. So Your DMS are specialists in document management solutions with over 20 years of experience in document management in the DM industry. And at Your DMS, they say our knowledge and ability to translate and deliver technology to simplify the way organizations work has been proven, folks. And it's effective time and time again, says Jack Wright, Sales Director of Your DMS. And as we make them more and more efficient, we can also save them money and enhance their engagement with their customers and suppliers. So it's another part of, this is the kind of process end to being authentic, maybe. This is interesting, isn't it? So I'd like to welcome Chris Windley, our new Leaders Live follower. And let me just bring up the screen here for him. Let's have a look, see if he's in the room. Hello, Chris Windley. How you doing? You all right, mate?
Mic check. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. I'm just going to move you about just a little bit. 1 second. Where are you?
Okay, perfect.
There you go. There you are. So, yeah, you're sitting in a corner somewhere there. Are you at home or in a hotel somewhere or on business somewhere?
I'm at home.
Home?
I'm not. I'm just down the road from you, Andrew.
Are you really? Wow, Burton-on-Trent. There you go. What a small world that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Chris, Chairman and CEO of Cyber Security Association and Global Sales and Marketing Director of Lujam Cyber. Have I pronounced that correctly for you, Chris?
You have. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we'll pop your contact details in the feed. So groovy to have you on the show, albeit very, very briefly, and we're honoured. So, Chris, talk to us a little bit. What's your business all about? Why is it important to us listening? And how can we help you, Chris?
Okay, so I'll talk more about Lujam Cyber than the Cyber Security Association. Lujam Cyber spent 2 years in a thing called the GCHQ NCSC Cyber Accelerator. So I'm an ex-Navy guy, by the way, and
okay.
So being in GCHQ is like home from home to me. Well, I should put that correctly and say working with GCHQ in the Cyber Accelerator.
Wasn't James Bond an ex-Navy commander? Just
That's
thought.
correct. That's absolutely correct. Yes, I know him well. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Basically, to cut a long story short,
yeah.
Pre-pandemic, our government in the UK was extremely concerned about cybersecurity for SMBs and of course for home and remote workers as well. Yeah. Right. So even before the pandemic, the government was basically predicting that more and more people would be working from home.
Right.
And obviously then when the pandemic hit, as I like to say, we went from 6 million SMEs to 25 million people working from home. Yeah. I don't know if the numbers are exactly right, but you get
I get the drift.
Yeah. So obviously they were being very proactive and predicting, if you like, what would happen in the future, even though they obviously didn't predict the pandemic. Yeah. And of course now post-pandemic, we have what we refer to as the hybrid world.
Yeah.
Right. Where I don't know what your experience is, Andrew, and the ladies on the show, but basically we've got, the typical thing is 2 days in the office, 2 days at home, and a day out on the road, or some combination of that. Right. Now, I mean, I've been working from home for 27 years, Andrew, right? So I want everybody to be able to work from wherever they want to, right?
Safely.
But from a cybersecurity perspective, we would say it's absolutely the worst case, right? So if you think about this, you've got people with probably their own laptop and mobile phone, sometimes working in the office, sometimes working from home, and sometimes working from like a hotel or or the train or the wherever, and so obviously they're connecting to all of these different networks, Andrew, right? And we have used the pandemic and the virus analogy a bit. Certainly we did during the pandemic and that, and of course it's easy to pick up a virus, as they say, if you don't protect yourself.
So your business is all about cyber security, cyber certifiers, insurers, and continuous monitoring of keeping us safe, basically, from a cyber perspective. Is that right, Chris?
Yes, I mean, here in the UK, it's not well known, right? It needs to be better known. But here in the UK, we have a cybersecurity certification for SMEs, which obviously I was listening to your show. Was it last
week? Yeah, with Owen. Yeah.
So Owen came on and was talking about cyber essentials, right? And this is a cybersecurity certification that's specifically designed for SMEs. So it's relatively simple and it's low cost. It's relatively easy to implement, right?
And that's what you do. So contact Chris for those kind of details, folks, because actually we've got a lot of SME owners and directors and managers and leaders here on the show. So and they will be watching this afterwards. So my guess is that contact you, Chris, for a cybersecurity essentials package, right?
Yeah, cyber essentials. Cyber insurance and what we call continuous monitoring, which is what we developed in the GCHQ NCSC Cyber Accelerator.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And what are you thinking about today's show with authenticity? What's your view on taking a risk with authenticity, Mr. Windley?
Well, I'm too authentic. As we used to say in the military, they sent us on a lot of character building things. Unfortunately, I went on too many character building exercises. So yeah, I like to say I'm Marmite. You either like me or you hate me.
Okay. So Chris, I get the feeling that you speak your mind, and that brings me nicely onto just to bring this intermission slot to an end. We're going to ask you, Chris, 5 quick fire questions for you, as in get to know you in 5 quick questions.
Well,
Chris, what's your superpower, mate? Or is that the Marmite?
I mean, it sounds a bit egotistic, but I think my superpower is predicting the future.
Predicting the future, yeah.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is, all through my career, when I've worked for other people and, in the own businesses that I've started, I've always predicted what was going to happen in the future.
Lovely.
I'd say the typical thing there is I've probably done it too early.
Yeah. Okay. So predicting the future and seeing what threats are out there is your superpower, helping people to protect themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Things on your bucket list. What's the top list? What's the top thing on your bucket list, Chris?
So the top thing on my bucket list at the minute is that I support Ukraine. I actually do pro bono work supporting Ukrainian companies.
We like that.
Yeah, across the world. But I've never been to Ukraine. And indeed, when I was in the Navy, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Right. So my bucket list is basically most of the people I work with are in Kiev. So I have to go to Kiev, and obviously I have to go to Kherson as well.
Right.
With the recent freeing of that.
Yeah. Nice. Great. Brilliant. Well, what a great bucket list. We love that one. Football team, rugby team you support. Come on, Chris. Favourite football team?
Yeah, well, I spent my whole, school and Navy career avoiding playing rugby. Right? I've got a long story there, right? Yeah. And I'm useless at football, but my story about football is that I support Chelsea and Cardiff City.
Okay.
And that's because I used to skive off school when I was about 14 and 15, right? And yeah, I know. And my mate had a trial for Man United. So he always had to be the red players. So that meant I always had to be the blue player.
Love it. Yeah, I love that. Fantastic. We've got a lot of football fans here, so we're probably going to start a whole new thread on football just in a minute. so when
well, as long as they don't ask me any questions about football.
Absolutely. Well, we won't. We'll move on. We'll move on. Favourite band, Chris? Favourite band?
Well, yeah, okay. So, I mean, like, you know, I've got very like eclectic music tastes and all the rest of it. But somebody was saying a story the other day about the White Stripes, which resonated with me, right? And it was, you know, Seven Nation Army, doom, do, 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 right?
We even got a song.
And basically, they were talking about, if you like, the purity and the simplicity of that song, right? Because it's just basically just a bass, isn't it? And drums.
Yeah, lovely. Well done.
So,
okay,
I'll just go for them.
So okay, got that. Lastly, top business leadership tip, Chris.
So my top business tip, cybersecurity related, is don't be like Interserve, right? Because Interserve just got fined £4.4 million by the Information Commissioner's Office, right? And the reason that they basically got fined £4.4 million is because they did absolutely nothing, Andrew, to try to cyber secure themselves or to protect their customers' data. Yeah. Absolutely zero.
Shocking.
So the IC office slammed them.
Yeah.
Right. And also the commissioner that represented them basically said, I just want to let you know that if anybody else does this, they're also going to get slammed.
Brilliant. Okay, so sort your cybersecurity out is your top leadership tip. Thanks, Chris. Chris, been great to have you on the show on the Get to Know You in 5 slot. I hope you found that useful too. I know you brought some of your tribe along with you, so nice to see Nick and others here from your tribe. So brilliant and supporting you. Well, your contact details are in the comments, so people can pick you up from there, Chris. And we'll say goodbye for now, Chris. Cheers for now. Thanks for being a sport and coming on. Cheers, Chris.
All the best. Thank you.
All the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye, Chris.
Brilliant. Fantastic. There we go. So let's bring on Rebecca again. So we're back to the show, folks. I hope you found that useful interlude slot, folks. And back to the show again now with Rebecca. We're talking about the risk of not being authentic in business. So we've got a second audience question, but before we get there, can we pick up some comments, do you think, Berdine? Because we've got billions going on. Let's just pick a few of these out.
It's like there's hundreds going on in here, Andrew. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I need to be playing good guy, bad guy here, fishing them out.
Fishing them out. Go for it.
If I miss them, it's just Andrew's fault, not mine.
That's part of being authentic. I just blame me. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You're the one behind all the tech.
That's
so a guy said, very few tribe members show their authentic self at work. Why they are scared of any backfire.
Oh, yeah.
Many leaders feel threatened and hold grudges.
Yeah.
Then Maria Jeffers said, I'm so genuinely passionate about my continuous self-development. It never ends.
That's right.
I'm so fascinated about what I have discovered about myself that I want to help others do the same.
Spot on, Maria. That's exactly it, isn't it? You know, the flaw in ourselves is something that we can help others with as well, isn't it? And our light can shine through our flaws and help other people to ease the pain in their own lives as well, Maria. Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yes. Then we've got Jo agreeing with Maria and saying that she used to hide behind a mask with the fear of folk wouldn't like her.
Yeah, there's something about fear here, Rebecca, isn't there? You know, and the kind of almost the opposite to our authenticity is the fear of exposing ourselves, perhaps, Rebecca.
Yeah, the fear of the situation was the fear of, would my team still want to be in the company? Would they still, if I really opened up, well, they lose confidence and leave.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's our insecurities that hold us back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Thank you, Rebecca. Right, Birdine, carry on.
Right. We've got a long one from Matthias. Matthias said, just to give an example, in one of my previous jobs, my boss told me to never be personal. Only talk to Clinton following a strict list of procedures and not talk about anything but the sealing the deal. We were also instructed to not talk about football at work, as the management thought this would lead to polarization between colleagues. Then a client talked to me about football. Turned out he was a Liverpool fan. Despite the fact that I supported Man United, the client loved the conversation and told my manager that because I was authentic and we had such a great chat about football, he decided to go for my employer as a collaborator. My management was more positive to be authentic after this.
There you go. What a brilliant story. Oh, fantastic. Isn't that lovely?
That is a brilliant story, isn't it? It just shows that when we open up ourselves, we can develop these deeper relationships by sharing experiences, sharing stories. We become more relatable. We build those deeper relationships, and that's a fabulous example of that,
isn't it? And also, through the kind of enemies of football fans like Liverpool and Manchester United fans might not necessarily talk together, but there's always common ground, right? And so we don't have to have we don't have to be segmented, do we? I suppose even though we might support a football team, it's just friendly banter, right? We can enjoy a conversation around it. Yeah. Interesting. Fantastic. Birdine.
Okay. Then we've got everyone loving your story, Rebecca. Matthias said, that is a wonderful story, Rebecca. Can definitely relate to this. Letting my results from school define me until I discovered that you can create your own way. Bruce Springsteen sings in his song No Surrender. We learned more from a 3-minute record than we ever learned from school.
Yeah, we don't learn about this stuff at school.
That's true.
It's just, it should be on the curriculum. It's not just about your intellect or your level of intelligence or the marks that you get. That's not what it's about.
No, it's about finding who we really are, right? And having tools to do that. Yeah. So thinking about the next question, how will this kind of authenticity approach, the risk of being authentic, how will it shape? How does this approach shape the way we do business today and in the future, Rebecca? What's the kind of future of this business-wise?
I think it's just leaders. We have to take on board that things are going to be different, and they are changing now, and we have to adapt. Andrew, I'd love to get your perspective on this because I've started to read your book.
Oh, thank you.
And there are some things in your book that I absolutely love. I was flicking through it last night, and some of it is around the language we give ourselves. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you think. But my perspective is that we're going to have more freedom. We need to allow more freedom to coach each other, to give feedback. And that means creating a place in your business, creating that psychological safety where it's absolutely okay to give feedback upwards to make your boss or your leader, is a better word, to improve your leader, to coach your team, your peer-to-peer coaching, and giving feedback openly and candidly. So having that space where it's okay to be absolutely candid and say and give feedback.
Beautiful.
And I think that's what we really are going to be moving towards, because if we do that, then we build a safe place to work. We'll all be much more open. We'll all feel that we can share our views more easily. We can give that candid feedback, and we'll have a better business as a result.
Yeah, and some of that, Rebecca, just thinking about feedback, quite often when we think about feedback, we think, oh, what have I done wrong? And yet this is improvement, but also it's also about praise. And the one thing we don't do a lot in our business is praise one another. And praise-based feedback is as important as constructive feedback, and telling people that they've done a good job, and also, to have some feedback to say, actually, I'm not okay today, folks. I ran over the cat this morning. I'm not feeling very good this morning, and it's okay not to be be okay, right? And where we can get the support of other people if we're not, if we're, for whatever reason, not on our game for that week or whatever. It's okay, providing that we can talk about that. And I'm not talking about cancelling here. I'm just talking about, admitting where we are with one another.
Yeah, and the statistic is that only 15% of the workforce feel motivated at work.
Yeah, it's
They
tragically low,
don't
isn't
feel
it?
motivated, they don't feel fulfilled. Well, and I feel as leaders, we have that responsibility, don't we? To help
Yeah.
everybody feel motivated at work and fulfilled at work. And how are you going to help them to feel fulfilled? By having that involvement and co-creation and collaboration, all of those things really working together to make the business better.
Yeah, I can't agree more with you. And you mentioned my book. This is called
Oh, yeah.
You're More Than You Think, which I wrote some time ago, actually, and it's still very current today. And some of the concepts which I talked about there, Rebecca, picking up on some of the stuff that you did, which sounds very, this is a kind of modern futuristic approach to business where, grace, forgiveness, acceptance, making each other's day, being vulnerable, trusting one another, letting go of control a little bit, not have that control freakery. So many people in business say that they're control freaks and OCD. That's not good behaviors, and nor's perfectionism. It's letting go of some of those things and embracing the unknown and discovering who we really are and, making a difference in the business and the world that we live in. I think of the important constructs and that whole thing about freedom, giving freedom to when we turn up for work, I like to think that when we get up in the morning, Rebecca, when our feet touch the ground, we're thinking about, wow, I'm going to have a great day today. So when my feet touch the ground today, I was thinking, oh, we've got Leaders Live Day and we've got Rebecca and we've got Birdin in the room again. And we're going to have a great time today. And then so I can go to my office whistling. And after this show, I will be singing for the rest of the day.
Well, I hope you can sing well. I think it's the words we give ourselves, isn't it? And how we manage our mindset. It's important. And there was one thing in your book that I saw yesterday, and it was the vocabulary that we use. And instead of saying, oh, I'm so angry about that situation, I'm so angry that Body Shop told me I was boring. I could have just said, well, I'm feeling a bit miffed about that, which is, I think, is the phrase you use. And it's all about the language we give ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's important, isn't it?
Quite right. And Nick says this: authenticity, a beautiful vibration to be in. And I am my author, the author of my toxicity. Very good. My essence, in other words, he's saying. Great story. Love this example of vulnerability and how this builds trust in your team. We are all human, right?
We are all human.
Yeah. And
we have a question from Roxy as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just ask after the story that Rebecca told, and she asked, my thinking most of the time is, if you see yourself as a leader with all the answers, does that mean you don't listen to your staff?
Oh, that's
because she says
so
that we have grown in a
Mm.
lot in the past decade, but then she's asking that.
Yeah. What say you, Rebecca? I can't find that now. I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah, I think you've got to just say, I don't have all the answers. As a leader, it's absolutely fine to say that and really encourage you to do it, because if you haven't done it up till now, I'm not saying this person hasn't done that, but it just opens up the gates for new ideas and support and innovation. And I have to tell you, from the example that I was talking about with the Body Shop, we came up with this phenomenal new innovation that didn't come from me, came from the engineer. And if he hadn't come up with that, if we hadn't created that environment, we would never have got to that place. So, yeah. Does that address the question, Birdine? Can we just go over the question again?
Yeah, there it is again. There it is. Yep.
I'm thinking most of the time, if you see yourself as a leader with all the answers, does that mean, yeah, I think it probably does. I thought I had all the answers, but I wasn't encouraging my team, wasn't hearing from my team. And I think that was a massive lesson for me, absolutely massive, changed the way I led after that. Yeah. It's absolutely okay to say, I don't know.
And Nick says this, which I think just 2 words. Always listen. Absolutely. And Shane Wood, good morning, Shane. Social proof. This is about feedback. I think this is really interesting. Is authentic and is the new horizontal trust mechanism. Absolutely, where we're asking not just our staff but our customers. What they think. Think Amazon. Think TripAdvisor. As Shane's just said, spot on. So feedback goes everywhere, and that makes things genuine, doesn't it? Because you've got to improve, otherwise your customers will keep berating you, right?
I feel very strongly about this point, actually. It's not just with your team, it's with all stakeholders.
Yeah, spot on.
And that includes, your suppliers. Are you treating your suppliers with authentically? Are you treating your clients with authenticity? How do they feel? And you've got to have those conversations with them. But I think you've got to set the scene. So it's okay to have those really deep, meaningful, you're seeking trust, you're seeking what the clients really feel. And you've got to bring that out. What's your thoughts, Andrew?
I think that's spot on. I love the way you've just said that. And I just heard the chickens crowing in the background in Birdines. Brilliant. She's on a farm, folks, and chickens are roosting and chickens are doing stuff. So that's just brilliant to hear.
They are running around crazily outside.
Fantastic.
So
brilliant.
Just listen to my background music. That's my background
it's fantastic.
music, guys.
And just to reinforce that, Gary says this: turn the pyramid upside down. Leaders are there to support the pyramid from the bottom. Absolutely, I call this servant leadership. Absolutely, leaders eat last and eat your own lunch as well. Gary Fisher, spot on. Love that. That book looks brilliant. Says. Read the book Leaders Eat Last. And that book does look brilliant. If we can find the link, we'll pop it in for you. But I'm putting Birding on the spot there. So if that's possible, we'll find the link for you. If not, we'll pop it in later for you. I love the chicken, says Nick. So what practical tips, so we're coming to an end now, Rebecca, what practical tips would you give those listening about being an authentic leader?
Oh, okay. Great question, Andrew. I think one, it starts with us.
Yeah.
And that self-reflection, holding the mirror up to ourselves and saying, am I being truly aligned to who I am? Am I being a genuine, authentic person? And you know what? That can be a struggle for some people. So I think if they're struggling with that, they find a coach who will help them get to that place to be their authentic selves and take those risks. So that's one. And then I think the second one is, as a leader, create that culture where you've got that psychological safety and you behave in line with the values of the business, because we look up to leaders. Yeah. And if you have a set of values in your business and then as a leader you don't act in accordance with those, you do so much damage, and people will react more to how you behave than the values that you've got set out.
I agree with that. Yeah, completely. Yeah. And this might be one of your mates, Theone. I don't know. Employees who are left free to have the time in the morning to drink their coffee, chat with each other and relax will be much more productive, absolutely, in the next few hours, and definitely dedicate to the company's purpose. She's spot on. Well done, Theone. And those employees will engage themselves if working environment allows them to interact and socialise with what does that say? Whack other, have free will, and get consistent coaching for incentives. Absolutely, get a coach, Rebecca said earlier, and thanks, Theone, for that. And Nick says, ask yourself who I am, and Birdine's found the link for Leaders Eat Last. Brilliant. Thank you, Birdine. Fantastic. Yeah, I like that. And sorry, I was just going to pick up on a theme there, and I've forgotten what it was. Now I've just suddenly lost.
What would you add to that, Andrew? Because you're so experienced in this area as well. So I'd love to hear what you think. So my steps, one would be reflect on yourself, and then two, create the culture. And, if people aren't sure about how to develop their culture, again, get somebody to help them with it. Do a culture assessment and look where the gaps are. But what would be your tips? Because, you are very experienced here too.
I think you mentioned one of those, Rebecca, and I think you're absolutely right. Work on yourself. This is really important. We continually have to work on ourselves. Get yourself a coach. We've got Maria Jeffers in the room today, and she's an experienced coach. So I'm shouting out for Maria. So whoop, whoop for Maria here. Myself, I do a lot of executive coaching as well. And yeah, you mentioned reflecting. I completely agree with that. That time to spend balcony time, not just on the dance floor all the time in the middle of business, but actually as a leader, part of our job is to go away and reflect. I was at a team building a team building facilitation thing last Friday, and I was at a beautiful house in the middle of the country, and I got there early so I could have 3 hours of just reflection time to think about a future client that I'm working on. And that was invaluable for me, just that reflection time. And, that whole thing about creating culture is massively important because this stuff shapes culture. When we start to talk about authenticity, it does challenge the company culture, and rightly so, because we need to create cultures of psychological safety, of openness, freedom at work, where people can be expressive and do their very, very best work and not be, beholden to hierarchies that just don't work anymore. So, my vision of modern business is very radical. We don't need managers necessarily, but we do need to manage ourselves. And high-performing teams tend to manage themselves better. They still get led, but actually they manage and self-manage themselves because they're responsible. They're human beings that have grown to a point where, their authenticity shines out. So these are important things, I think, Rebecca. So, yeah, thanks for the prod on the question. In terms of Rebecca's shout out, there's a lot going on for Rebecca here in terms of her call to action for you. So I just want to bring this up for a minute. Just bear with me, just while I find this here. You can see this screen here. So this is Rebecca's website we've got up here. And she's also running a mastermind class as well. And in addition to that, Rebecca is happy to give away the first 5 copies of her book, Winning Big in Sales for Leaders Live Audience. So that's free for us today. First 5, type it in the comments if you want a copy of her book, Winning Big in Sales, and Rebecca will follow up with you. And also other freebies are her webinar recording on business growth. I've listened to that. It's brilliant, on how to secure C-suite accounts. Which is the book's focus as well. So tell us a little bit, Rebecca, about your mastermind course here.
Yeah, this is going to be really exciting because we all know the challenges in the economy.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to help companies, business owners, C-suite executives make 2023 their absolute best year. So with VJ, who's also on the call, we are providing incredible support, training, retreats. It's going to kick off with a 2-day retreat to get your blueprint for success for 2023 and beyond. And our focus is that you are going to achieve growth of 80% over the next 3 years. Profitable growth. Yeah. And there's going to be the support, the training, weekly Q&As, weekly training, all to make 2023 your best year, and lots of one-to-one support as well, because that's important, tailored to the business. And we just feel that it's a very challenging time for companies, but there are always opportunities in those challenging times. So take the time out of your business by doing the retreat and then working collectively together with peers. It's going to be a very small group of business owners that are ambitious to get to their business to the next stage, where we will collectively support each other and achieve those big goals for the future.
That's brilliant. Yeah. And the links are all in the feed, folks, as well. And there's a Leaders Live discount as well. So if you're interested in that, hop on to Rebecca's website, which is www.rjen.co.uk/mastermind. Is that right, Rebecca?
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
It.
Yeah, so please do that, and then reference. If you go to the landing page, you can book a call with Rebecca to talk that through as a consultation call, and the Leaders Live reference is LL15 to get the discount. So there you go. So. Wow, how about that?
We'll also make it a strategy call as well, Andrew. If people are going to invest some time in a call, then we want to make sure we help you with get a clear roadmap on that call. It's not just a call to tell you about the mastermind. It's a call to say, how can I get my business to the next stage? And VJ and I will provide advice and support on that call and give you a clear roadmap, or help you to develop your roadmap.
Yeah, so that's a free strategy session, folks. So that's brilliant. So, wow. I really encourage you to pick up the phone and talk to Rebecca. Her and VJ will help you with your business strategy, and they're both very wise people. So, fantastic. So we're going to wrap up the show very shortly, folks. Just to let you know that I also have a questionnaire, which you might find really useful, about authenticity, which is, I developed this as part of my book, when I published this, when this got published, and the link will be in the feed for that. It looks at your acquired self versus your authentic self and gives you a measure of where you are between, your conditioned person, the person that you're conditioned to have been, and how near you are getting to your own authenticity along your own journey. So it gives you a marker, and it gives you tips to improve as well. So all of that lot is in that questionnaire. So, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's show. It's been a groovy show and been fantastic to have you on the show, Rebecca. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. It's been so lovely to get to know you as well.
Thank you. Yeah. And, thanks again, Rebecca, for enlightening us today with this extraordinary conversation. We've loved having Rebecca on the show. And this show will be on podcast too shortly. Just give us 24 hours or so while load shedding sorts itself out in South Africa, where Berdine or Darlington will be doing the feed for us. And please also join in LinkedIn Leaders Live group and keep the conversation flowing there, folks. There's loads going on in the feed. If we've got a minute, we might just pick up a few of those. And remember, too, folks, to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And all those links are going in the feed. And there's a lot of yes pleases for books, by the way. So Matteo says yes please. Nick Siegel says yes please, I think. We've got Paul Winfield says yes, and Jonas says yes. So there you go. I think that's 4 or 5 straight off. Brilliant. And my own CTA, folks, just for just in case you want to know a little bit more about me, my own commercial offerings is I run team leadership and development consultancy called PDX. So please contact me if you need help in your business to develop effective leadership, sales and operations teams so your people can operate at their very best to run successful and profitable businesses, folks. And I do that through specialized development programs, very complementary, actually, to where Rebecca's going with C-suites. I develop high-performing teams, executive coaching, and NLP business diplomas. So that's a little bit about me. And the goose for next week, folks, I'll just bring this back up again. Where are we? The goose for next week is... that's the wrong scene. I meant to have done this scene here. Next Tuesday at 8:45 a.m, folks, same time, we'll be hanging out with my mate, Andrew Wilmot, portfolio CTO, non-executive director, fintech chair, and transcendental meditation teacher. Oh, that does deserve it. Oh, and he's, in fact, he's my meditation teacher too. And our theme is how meditation unlocks business intuition. Oh, I think that's going to be a great session like we've just had today. So, folks, we're going to bop out now, and we're going to bop out to our music here. And just want to say thank you very much again for joining us. Just turn the volume down a little bit. So it's been great to hang out with you today and all you guys online, and thanks for all the comments, and thanks very much for being part of this show and creating such a great community. We can't do this without you, folks. And thank you too for all the comments we've got. Sorry we didn't have time to cover them all, but time moves on. Nick Siegel says, brilliant PDX. Kev says, great show, guys. Go on, good man. There we go. Brilliant. So thank you. Podcast will be out shortly, and in the meantime, that's a wrap, folks. So thank you very much from Rebecca, from Berdine, our fantastic moderator. Great to have you in the room again. Please feel free to come anytime, Berdine. And, and also from our sponsors, Your DMS, we wish you a great week ahead, and you can bop out to the intro music as we go. I'm going to wave goodbye to you now, folks. Thanks very much. And thanks for making this a great show. I think we're going to have to do a number 2, Rebecca.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Okay, folks. See you again. Cheers now.
Okay.
Have a great week.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.